an exception. It's not usually the case when we drive through the city of Cairo. Usually the driving through the city of Cairo is very exciting, and it's really everybody is really watching out, and we have our great driver with us, Gaber, and he's going to show us his great expertise in driving through the city. Now we are crossing over from Cairo to Giza, and on your right hand side you can see all the skyscrapers and the beautiful hotels that are on both banks of the river, while straight ahead you can see the dome of the great dome of the Cairo University. And even though it is located in Giza, it is called Cairo University. So you see and of course in that square we can see that statue which is going to be on your right hand side, and that is the statue of the Renaissance of Egypt, which was made by Mukhtar, a sculptor of the early 20th century. The original statue is in Paris, and this was done later on. It shows us one of the largest zoos in the world, and when it was originally done at near the end of the 19th century, it was the largest zoo in the world. And you can see the different animals. They are not yet asleep. They've just woken up, probably. So this was planned during the time of the Khedive Ismail, and during his time there was the opening of the Suez Canal. This is a great place really to visit. Egyptians usually come here during the feasts and during the holidays, and they spend the whole day there, and they get their food and drink, and they have a wonderful day. And it's very, very crowded with people. About maybe 500,000 come here, and it's just crammed with people. Excuse me, I will sit. And on the right you can see the typical Egyptian cafes where men sit and have tea and coffee and play cards and dominoes, and they smoke the shisha, which is the water pipe. They smoke tobacco.
Just to start our excursion, I want everyone to ask themselves the question, what is a pyramid? And try to find the answers and think about them a little, because all the answers you will announce once we are at the appropriate position to start our investigation of these monuments. The date of the monuments is the 26th century BC. We will disembark, and we will have our introductory talk down here in front of the bus.
Well, this is the plateau of Giza. What I was trying to explain is that the area on which the pyramids are built, or that rock formation, is earlier than this rock formation, and that rock formation slopes towards us, and then this other formation came over later. You're not going to there's any confusion about these two formations. On the bus, I asked you to ask yourselves the question, what is a pyramid? and I'm sure some of you came with answers, and this is time. Listen to those answers. Anybody is going to volunteer their answers? On to the pyramids of Egypt. No, I'm not talking about impressions. I'm talking about facts.
The pharaohs, after all, the pharaohs.
Just don't step in, but you're going to step in.
A mountain. A blood mountain. Right. Very close. That is very close to the fact that the pyramid is initially a primeval hill. So you're right. Geometrical. The first Egyptians had their burial. They made little pits and put a little mound over the pits where the burial was put in a crouched position. That crouched position is the position of the fetus in the womb, so that you're preparing the deceased for his rebirth. And then precautions were added to preserve the person inside. More precautions were made to preserve the mound, or the little pile of rubble which is on top of the pit, because a primeval hill, or the idea of a primeval hill, is the hill that has the potential of life. It's a fountainhead of emerging life. So if you place that on top of the burial, then you are helping the person who is buried towards his resurrection. It's an element that helps the resurrection. So the Egyptians, from the very earliest times of their history, believed in life after death. And to help that, they put a primeval or hill or a mound on top of the burial. That mound, or that little hill, or it's just a little pile, was subjected to being blown by the sand or scattered by people walking over it and that. So what they did is they built a retaining wall around the hill to preserve it. And then with the rising of the cult centers throughout Egypt, the cult of the sun and the cult of the other gods throughout Egypt, these primeval hills started to take various forms in the various cult centers of Egypt. And we find that in the earliest times of Egyptian history, perhaps before the invention of writing, that these mounds are built throughout Egypt. And these mounds gave some important restrictions to the architecture of pyramids, which I will talk about later. We don't know anything about the building techniques. We don't know anything about the logistics of the supply of material. And we find that many books present theories, which range from aliens from outer space coming to build the pyramid to very, very complicated mathematical solutions which could go beyond the capabilities of the minds of the Egyptians at that time. What we need is something simple and functional that would be able to achieve these great engineering projects. So first, if we want to consider the true pyramid form, then we have to realize that at level, with the Great Pyramid, there the error in the level of the corners is about 1 inch over the distance of 230 meters multiplied 4 times. So that leveling is amazing to be able to be achieved in the 26th century BC. The second thing is to orient it to the cardinal points. Now, no compasses, nothing. All what they had is polar star and knowledge of the path of the sun in the Egyptian hemisphere. So they had to know of the days of the equinox, because that's the only time in the year, twice a year, where the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And all the other days of the year, the sun does not rise in the true east and set in the true west. So from these two bases of the knowledge of the directions, they must have used them in a way to build these monuments.
About pyramids. We don't know all the answers to these four questions, but archaeology and modern science are working, not very hard, but they are working to answer these questions. The reason for not devoting the needs to answer these questions is that the archaeological clearance of pyramids is a very immense job, and it's costly and time consuming. It could take the lifetime of an archaeologist just to clear and study one pyramid. And how many pyramids do we have? Here, but a total 137 pyramids. That's transport. Yeah, for electric energy. And we have on our right-hand side the Muqattam formation, which is an earlier limestone, Eocene.
8 kilometers north of this area, the place called Abrawash. And the pyramid is in a very ruined state, and it has not been excavated. We don't know much about the son of Khufu, Cheops, but we know about his successor, who is also a son of Khufu, and that is Khepri of Khafre, the builder of the second pyramid. When he decided to build his pyramid here, but the place of all the advantages was taken by his father. So he had to deal with problems which his father did not deal with. Now, if you look at the area that we are standing, at least 2 meters down. So that's 100. 100 is the volume of this rock in cubic meters. Now the weight, all you have to do is multiply 100 by 2.2, then you have 220 tons that has been taken out of here and installed there to extend the platform. Now, moving one block from here to there is a very short distance, but when you think of the pyramids and the blocks that are used in these pyramids, that is another question which I will talk about later. But all we have to do now is walk, moving one block from the quarry, which serves the purpose of the ground floor, to be brought here to extend the terrace to receive the pyramid and let's walk in this direction to see and see the part which is on top. So all this was covered by smooth, polished limestone. The only different stone of the first course of masonry is granite. Now, this rose granite has been placed on the natural rock on the platform. The natural rock has been very roughly leveled. And what has been precisely leveled is this corner, as you see here. This cut, which is a vertical cut in the rock off the angle of slope of the side of the pyramid. So the depth of this part would vary according to the roughness of the surface of the desert. But this line is the absolute ultimate correct line, which was the dated line. The result of the series of approximations which were brought from outside to this point. This direction was leveled by 4 dips, which were cut into the rock at the 4 corners of the pyramid. Very, very gentle dips. They were filled with water. And then a sort of a channel was cut on the surface of the rock from this dip to that dip until the water went from this to that. The depth of the water would not have been more than 1 foot at most. So we don't know. It's not built that way. It is built so as each of these 2 pyramids contains within it a step pyramid. So if you take the outer blocks, you will find that there is a step pyramid inside. And if you remove the step pyramid, you will find that there is a conventional mastaba. And if you remove the retaining wall of the mastaba, you'll find that there's a mound. So the older tradition is maintained in spite of the outer appearance of the mound that we are looking at. It's an accumulation of traditions, one inside the other. Of course, this can only be seen in pyramids that have been torn, that have been demolished, from plans of pyramids, from parts that have fallen out of pyramids, and then you can see the step pyramid element inside it, or the mastaba, or so forth. But the Egyptians never sort of changed their way completely. But the old was maintained and the new was added. The old was always kept inside the new. So inside the true pyramid is a step pyramid, inside the step pyramid, mastaba, inside the mastaba is a mound, and these things are maintained. Then there's another set of walls here, every 5 meters of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another set of walls here. So from this to that, till there, then the water was in that position. After the water served its purpose, it was, and this pavement was built, and the walls was in this direction. This is the result of quarrying, because the outer facing is a finer stone than the, so that stone is more in demand. That's why they've been taken, yes. But the pyramid has been in this state since the 16th century. So after the 16th century, a little, very, very little change has occurred on the second century. Moreover, we have the beginning of the corridor that goes to the priest's chamber. So exactly and in line with these elements which are in the pyramid, we find an attempt to copy them. Whether this was before or after, we don't know. But the interesting thing is that these passages which we have here, which are an exact copy of what we have in the pyramid, is 7 meters away from the trench which we have here, which is exactly the distance of the corridors from the center of the pyramid. So this creates a sort of a problem. And the first thing was the Great Pyramid originally intended to be built here, and then it was moved there. Because it's amazing how very well cut. I mean, the rock is eroded, but once you go deeper, then you find it in a much better state. But you can see here, all the cutting and the quarrying is exactly the same as you find in the Grand Gallery, which has the great corbelled roof. Moreover, if there had been a pyramid in this location, and the axis of the pyramid is in this trench, then it would coincide exactly with the axis of those 3 Queen's pyramids which we have in that direction. But over there, that problem Them is called G1X. G1X block. Pyramid G1X. Just this cuts, which we have here, and that cut across. When George Reisner came to Giza, he gave numbers to the pyramids. So G is for Giza, G1 is for the pyramid of Khufu, G1A is this queen, G1B is that queen, G1C is the third queen. But when he was excavating here, he found this. This is the very beginning of a substructure of a pyramid, where this is the corridor that goes down to a burial chamber, unfinished, and as it leaves the ground level, then blocks of stone would be put here and up here and up here for the entrance to be somewhere in the air. Here, so the corridor starts outside the pyramid there, goes down here, and to the burial chamber. But it was decided not to go ahead with this project, and G1X was left. And we find that this building and that building have been built later on. Now, if G1X was to be built, then it would cover an area which extended in the direction of this mastaba and the direction of that pyramid, indicating that G1X was much earlier than those two monuments, and G1X was abandoned and these monuments were built. Now, the mystery of G1X becomes more and more complex, because on the axis of G1X, is this shaft.
Right on top.
Queen Hatshepsut, the mother of Cheops. There was the canopic chest, which was open and contained all the viscera, which the queen's internals, and even the liquid that was used to preserve the viscera, and that you should see in the Cairo Museum. Now, there was the sarcophagus. When the sarcophagus was opened, the sarcophagus was empty. So the viscera was present, but the sarcophagus was empty. So it means that the mummy of the queen must have been somewhere else, or never actually buried right here. And this was a great discovery in the 20s, and it was only eclipsed by the discovery of Tutankhamun's treasures, which sort of covered, and nothing was more important than that. But the treasures that were found here are in the Cairo Museum, and they have been duplicated in the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, because it was an expedition from Yale. And it's one of the only tombs that was found intact from the old king who created the true pyramid. And you can see the very, very, very good connections between the stone. And if you look at the section, you can even see them better. Now, this outer facing is covering a nucleus, and this nucleus is the step pyramid element. You can see this wall, you can see another wall, you can see a third wall. Actually, you can see evidence of 3 of the steps of the step pyramid, which is embedded inside the true pyramid just by looking at this relic right here. Situation which exists in this. Now we are going to go to a less sunny place, air-conditioned, with temples of relief, and you are going to see sort of. If you did not understand what I mean by temples of relief, let's think about that.
Daar wacht wel even. Great Sphinx.
It's the Islamic cemetery. It's the southern cemetery